Hello, fellow sleepyheads. Marvel's here. It's a chilly day today. Hope y'all are staying warm, cause I'm not. It is so cold. We have the heat on, but I feel cold air coming out of it, not warm. I don't know what's going on. It's too cold. But I do love the weather at night, at least, cause I get to be wrapped super cozy in all my blankets and then drink some hot chocolate. And it's also arroz con leche weather, so yeah. Okay, let me start off by saying that I did go see Desi and his friend perform, and they're so amazing, guys. I had heard of them before, but seeing them live, that was so cool. They both have such great vibes and energy. They played one of my favorite songs of theirs, Sunburn. I love it so much. They're from South Carolina, and that song, it has that beachy South Carolina feel to it, and the music video too, it's so cool. So yeah, good job, guys. I can't wait for their new album to come out soon. I think it comes out next week, something like that, end of November. But yeah, gods, check them out. My cousins went with me to their show. Those guys are like my brothers. I'm glad I got to hang out with them. It's never a bad time with them. I talk about them a lot in these episodes because, like I said, they're like my brothers. So I dream about that often, including my real brother. So you'll be hearing their names a lot. Javi, Kiko, yeah. If y'all have been listening to these last couple of episodes, it's just me talking about dreams and relatives. It should be obvious to y'all how much family means to me. Some people don't get to have that experience of having close family or any family at all. This is the last episode talking about my late relatives. I've gone down a long list of people that I miss and I think about every single day. While many of the dreams I have of them aren't the best, I still cherish their presence in them. I have a couple of more relatives to talk about. Their deaths and dreams I've had of them are some of the hardest to talk about, so I've left them for last. And I'm actually gonna backtrack to one relative that I've already spoken about, my Aunt Myra. I actually found the dream that I had mentioned in the part 1 of this little series about my aunt. I found it written down in my journal. The one where I dreamt about my great-grandpa smiling as he went to meet my dad. And then after that, my Uncle Ruben being at my Aunt Myra's funeral. Well, I was right about my great-grandpa's excitement, but I wasn't exactly correct about it being my aunt's funeral. It was her family just having like a little memorial service of her. It was a sad moment. And the part that my uncle was in makes me feel really heavy-hearted. His death is one of the hardest for me. He lived with me and my family for a long time until he moved to Mexico. So he saw me and my brother grow up, and in turn we saw him as he started a family of his own. Everyone loved him. He was my mom's youngest brother, and when she received that phone call, my dad and I were there, and it was just so terrible. I never want to live through that again. To see my mom in such heartbreaking pain. To this day, I have that moment engraved in my mind. It was so traumatizing for me to see her like that, and to know what happened to my uncle, and to know what could have happened to my other family that was nearby. I just can't. Everything was just so distressing. Going back to that dream, in that journal entry, I wrote that I woke up feeling happy because it felt so real. I dreamt that as he was remembering his wife's life, it was also my uncle's birthday. And so I gave him a birthday hug, and I also told him Merry Christmas. I had that dream on the 23rd of December in 2022, 2 years after his passing. His birthday was on the 24th, December 24th, Christmas Eve. Every single year that we went to Mexico, we would go see him for Christmas Eve, so we would give him a birthday hug and also a Christmas hug. I wish I could still do that. I wish I could give him a hug for real. I found another dream in which my Aunt Myra was in. My Uncle Ruben wasn't exactly in it, but it did have something to do with him. I was in my parents' neighborhood. It looked like it. There was a small crystal clear lake that glowed. Think bioluminescence and Avatar. I wanted to jump in, but my mom told me not to because then it'd interfere with the signal disruptor or whatever, because I guess we were like trying to hide our locations from someone. But yeah, I jumped in anyway, and my mom freaked out because that meant that our location was compromised, and so everyone knew where we were. She was calling people to tell them to destroy their phones. I don't know. Next thing I remember, I'm with my cousin, my Aunt Myra and Uncle Ruben's daughter. I am my Aunt Myra. I was in her shoes. She was surrounded by 2 cops, and she told them to go ahead and shoot her because she was gonna die from cancer anyways. I think there might have been a fire or explosion. I never saw my Uncle Ruben. I just know that they were after him and everyone was trying to hide him. And I think it was that same night that I also dreamt about my cousins Leo and Luis. Police were chasing them too, and I remember Leo was wearing a super cool outfit. It was like blue and had feathers. I don't know. The next one, it's super short, but I had it written down and I had to include it because my uncle is in it. I was in Mexico at my grandpa's house. I thought I saw my Uncle Ruben, but it was Leo, my cousin. My mom and I are in my Uncle Alejandro's room or some other room. We see my Uncle Ruben emerging from the room like a ghost. He was pale white like a ghost too. And another one, it's the most recent one I've had regarding him. I had this one maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was with my parents and my brother and one of my mom's sisters and some random lady with really nice curly hair. We were sitting outside on a picnic table. It was dark. It was daytime, but there really wasn't sun. There was an overall eerie feeling in the area. And before this, my cousin Mad had invited us to ride horses, but my mom and I didn't want to. And then she just disappeared. And I say this because it was in that same area. But yeah, we were all talking and then it started to rain. A bridge formed over us and it kept us dry. There was a gap between them. It was actually 2 bridges and there was a gap in between the 2 bridges. I kept poking my arm into the rain to see how strong it was. It was pretty strong and we all agreed that we should just wait for the rain to stop. It didn't. We waited and waited until it became nighttime. I was talking to the curly-haired lady, but when I was talking to her, I felt weird. Like, I felt like there were shadows or something, and I told everyone that we should go. I told them about the shadows, and I said something about seeing my uncle. My mom said that she would love to see him again. I told her that if we did see him, that it wouldn't actually be him. We heard like a screeching type of noise that scared us. There was kind of a shelter that we went into. It's weird to describe it. Think of like 2 long hallways intersecting like a fork in the road. On the left side, there was a long dark tunnel. On the right side, like the inside of a little shack. And we decided to rest where the 2 areas came together. I said something about how late it was and that we might as well sleep there. As everyone was getting ready to go to sleep, I looked down the tunnel, and I did walk a little bit because I was curious as to how long it was, but it seemed like it was never ending. I got scared, so I went back to my family. I guess I laid down, finally, to get some sleep, but then I was awoken. Something was dragging me into the tunnel by my legs. I couldn't see anything. My legs were just up in the air being dragged down into the darkness. I screamed for help and my family, they woke up and they pulled me by my arms. It was so creepy. I didn't want to go back to sleep in my dreams because I thought that whatever was dragging me would come right back for me. Now, the dream didn't exactly have my uncle in it, but it did take place where he died. In the dream, I told my family that I thought it was super inappropriate to have a picnic there. It was disrespectful. The next one ties into my Aunt Alice's death. It has my uncle in it too. I was somewhere, walking and staring at the ground. My Uncle Ruben was there, quickly pacing back and forth and back and forth. He was really anxious, like he was lost and trying to think of where to go. He was wearing a yellow and blue shirt, almost like the colors of his favorite soccer team. He wasn't looking at anything or anyone. He looked like a ghost, and in my dream I knew that he was dead, so what I was seeing had to be a ghost. Several people saw him too, including my brother. He told me to grab his phone so that he could record a video of my uncle just pacing. I gave him my phone. I didn't know where his was. I went to get my mom, and I told her that her brother was there, so my mom and I went back to where my uncle was, and he was gone. And when we went to see the video on the phone, there was no video. The phone didn't save it or it got deleted. I went around and I told people that I had just seen my uncle, and I remember specifically talking to my Aunt Gabby about it. next to her was my Aunt Ale. When I saw her in the dream, all I could think about was, she's no longer here. And then she just faded away. I've had other dreams about my aunt. Most of them have been good dreams. In one of them, I went through this magical door, and the other side was nice. It was like, think of a Renaissance festival. My aunt was leading a small parade, doing rounds around the town, whatever it was. There was music, she was dancing and laughing and smiling. I think it might have been her birthday. And another one, she was just sitting with my mom and my Aunt Gabby, and she was just smiling. And another, she was in my childhood bedroom looking for clothes for her son, for her youngest son. There have been 2 weird ones though that I've had about her. She wasn't exactly in this one, but it had something to do with her. I was in my old bedroom. I think my brother was there. He was complaining about the air purifier, that it wasn't cooling the room. I went to it and I checked the filter. It was so dirty, and so I cleaned it. There was a lot of hair in it. I kept pulling and pulling the hair out, and what I ended up grabbing, it just wasn't loose strands or like a ball of hair or whatever. It was a full-on wig. And then I told my brother, look, I found this. I think it belonged to my aunt, which my aunt did wear wigs. The next and last one I remember about her, I think it's a good conclusion to this segment on seeing my family in my dreams. It wraps everything up. I was at my work's parking lot. People were carrying coffins. My cousin Maria and someone else were carrying my great-grandpa's coffin. Maria called out for help because it was too heavy, so I wanted to go help her. The thing didn't weigh anything though. We took it inside, then we went and got another one. That time it was my Aunt Ale's coffin. Everyone was asking around, looking for a marker. I had one, and I wrote my aunt's name on her coffin. We took that one inside, and there were 4 total coffins in there. My cousin Chucho's, my great-grandpa's, my Aunt Ale's, and my Uncle Ruben's. And I saw my Uncle Ruben's daughter there, Em. I gave her a hug, and I asked her if she's okay. She said she was. And then people started line dancing. And I didn't dance because I didn't know how. That's basically it about the dreams that I've had about my family. If I ever find any more I have written down somewhere, I'll include them in a future episode. So what do y'all think? It's a lot of darkness, huh? I've gone through a lot, and my brain is obviously finding ways to process and cope with the hardships I've gone through and still struggle with to this day. And one of those big outlets is through my dreams. Honestly, it's been very cathartic to talk about this subject. Dreams are some of the only things left which we can keep to ourselves. No one has to know unless you share them, and sharing them here, verbalizing them, has felt good. I haven't written down in my journals in years. One of the last pages that I did write in, it was just a doodle that said, I can't get out of my head. As in, all these thoughts and experiences and feelings just kept running through my mind, and I couldn't really verbalize a lot of things. And then the dark dreams I had on top of what happened in the waking world just added on to the pile of things already on my mind. I was just constantly thinking, like, why am I having all these dreams? Why? What do they mean? What can I do? Like, I don't know, it was a lot. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people listening, or even future me, I don't have to keep it all inside my head. I can get out of my head. I do have a couple of more deaths that I want to talk about. They're not family. One is about an old acquaintance, and the other is about a celebrity. So that's what the next episode will be about, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you for sticking around for this subject. Yeah, it's almost Thanksgiving, and I'm so ready for food. Last Friday, I went out with 2 close friends to Golden Corral. I used to hate it, but then I went to their breakfast, and I love it. And last Friday I went to their dinner, and oh my goodness, that sweet potato casserole, it was so good. And all their desserts, that blueberry pie, ooh, it was so delicious. I wonder if they would get mad if I ate it all. That's a lot of sugar though. But yeah, oh Judith, if you're listening, you remember that song we made about the blueberry pie all those years ago? Blueberry pie in the twilight sky, something like that. Oh, and Michael and I, we just went to this bakery that opened up recently down the road. Oh, it's so good. Their pumpkin bread is delicious. I had never had pumpkin bread, but it's so moist. I'm such a sweets person, I hate it. Anyways, I think that's about it. I realized on the first episode that I said something about how y'all can share your dreams with me, and I can do my own take at interpreting them, but I never gave y'all like an email or anything, so that's something I gotta work on. Yeah, I'm thinking about closing out my episodes with like quotes or song lyrics about dreams or stuff relating to the episodes. For those that don't know me, I love music, anything and everything mostly. So yeah, let me make this one easy, very easy. Dream on, dream on. Did you guess it? Aerosmith? Okay, thank you again for sticking around. Oh, I always have a before I go. Y'all get used to that. I thought I had stopped sleep talking, but I caught myself last night. It just cracks me up because sometimes when I wake Michael up, he thinks I'm talking to him. So he's like, huh? And then I just repeat what I said. I think last night. Yeah, last night I said, did you see that car? I was talking to my brother in the dream, but it woke Michael up. He was like, huh? And I just repeated, did you see that car? I kind of miss talking like that. But yeah, y'all take it easy. Stay warm. I will see you shortly on the next one. Dream on, dream on. Good night, y'all.